All right.
Whoa. Always good to start with a little singing. And that's absolutely one of my favorite songs.
Me too.
Sung three different ways by three different people. In this case, 10,000 Maniacs. But always good. Yeah, it's a holiday weekend. People are in a good mood. How are you, Sarah?
I'm good.
It's good.
That was without a warm up. I was just jumping in.
I know. It kind of, I liked it. I spent the day with the grandkids running me ragged, and I just want some of their energy. I just want some of their energy. I
Yeah.
want to borrow some of their energy. That
Oh,
would be just, I mean, they have boundless energy, and just
true. If
from
only.
one thing to the next, and the next thing, and the next thing, and the next. Let's go here. As soon as one finished, let's do this. Wow, incredible.
It is.
It was a day well spent, and love was abound. It was everywhere, which was really nice. I
And
love those,
that's what
love those kids.
we're so
Love
good at.
those kids. Anyway, hello everybody. Welcome to your Amazing Edge podcast, Spicy Friday edition. We're delving into relationships. Nothing's taboo here. Nothing off limits in finding ways to keep your relationship fresh and growing. I'm Zev Halpern here in the nation's capital in Washington, D.C., on the East Coast.
And I am Sarah Polyakov here on the West Coast. And we are coast to coast and we are nationwide and worldwide. So please join us.
I guess we'll have to do that song one time. I'm nationwide. We'll have to do that one. We're here to give you real talk, real tools, and real strategies to elevate your relationship, whether you're in crisis or whether you just want more connection. I think a lot of people want connection. I think people are craving connection, especially since COVID. Connection has been kind of distorted and a different kind of connection. And people are really searching for ways to just connect like in the human way. And, we were thrown off kilter and
And
it has lasting effects.
right. And speaking of connecting in the human way, please drop us a comment. We would love to connect with you and we would love to hear from you.
And also, we have thick skins around here. So
We do.
fire away, say what's on your mind. We want to hear you. We will and can absorb it. So don't worry. You want to throw some darts? Go ahead.
And make fun of my singing. It's okay.
Absolutely. We're here for you and we want you to benefit. And so get it out if you have to. But anyway, today we're diving into what some of the ingredients of healthy relationships, harmonious relationships. Some of you might remember that, some of you might not. But there is harmony. There can be harmony. A lot of things get in the way. And you know what I mean. It can happen on a dime. You can be in, hello, how are you? And then, what did I do? And everything goes south. You don't talk to each other, and connection just goes sour, and it turns out to be one crappy weekend.
And you can hello, how are you? And then the next second, somebody's getting thrown off a balcony. That actually happens.
I think, yeah, that's serious. That's serious, but that's
a real story, though.
Sounds like a case of crime of passion.
It was. I was not the thrower. I was the one who heard the story from the one who did the throwing.
Oh my God, love can be dangerous, I guess.
And it was a Microsoft manager, true, who threw somebody off a balcony. And it was a crime of passion. He came home 2 days early to find his girl, and that man, that other guy, off the balcony in the middle of the day. Luckily, he landed in a bush. This is what happens when communication goes wrong.
Not exactly Romeo and Juliet you're telling us about, Sarah.
No, I'm not talking about
That's like Romeo and Juliet gone crazy,
Yes.
gone south and going further south. Um, but look, a relationship that has connection, exchange of feelings, needs, and desires has a good chance of realizing the benefits of a fulfilling life. So Sarah and I thought today might be a good weekend, being it a holiday weekend, um, to take some ingredients in. And I want to just say one thing that I thought about today before this is that you don't have to do all of these. Do some of them. Do one of them.
One.
Do one thing. You've improved your relationship 100%. People want to be heard, and so let's get into this a little bit. We know relationships, they get off track. Life happens, shit happens, but we also know the right strategies. Couples can shift from disconnection to real collaboration, intimacy, and yes, even sex. Remember that? Yeah, sure you do. Felt good, didn't it? I think it's a place you want to be, but a lot
Hopefully
of the
not a not so distant memory, because for some people, wow, it's a distant memory, like happened in another life. My
not
goodness.
on the menu.
Right?
It's not on the a la carte menu.
It's not. It's not even on the dessert menu. And that's the worst.
I mean, you know,
It can be on the dessert menu?
I
Really?
mean, bees do it, you know, humans do it, or humans did it, you know. And you know, I mean, look,
I
the
work
comedy stage is filled with jokes about husbands and wives and spouses and partners and relationships and dating, and it always will be because it's just a topic that's ripe and filled with A to Z, good, bad, and all that. But is your relationship, you know, is it giving you what you need? These are questions to ask. Are you giving your partner what they need? Has your relationship fallen into disrepair? Are you choosing to do nothing about it? Because I know that's a lot easier. What do you think, Sarah? It's certainly easier to do nothing.
most people, I think, in life, they fall into this pattern, whatever the circumstances, that sometimes it's just easier to do nothing rather than face any kind of conflict. And when it comes to sexual relationships, boy, that can be a big whole bag of conflict right there, because it's such a touchy topic in all areas.
Look, it can be about cleaning the house. People get pissed off. They come home, they're a hard day. They're not expecting, you know, something, and we're not getting stereotypical here, husband or wife. But the truth is that sometimes when you lend a hand, even, I mean, I've heard numerous times in this office and on the Zoom where a husband will say, you know, I helped out and I vacuumed. I actually vacuumed. Amazing. And guess what happened? I got laid. I vacuumed and I got laid. That's pretty good, right? I mean, when you look at a vacuum cleaner, I mean, you know, you could get all, I guess, kinky with a vacuum cleaner if you want to think about the vibrator attachment that you might want to think about. But the truth is that basically the guy cleaned the house and he got laid as a reward. You know, that was I think that he's going to do it again. Seems to me, it sure sounded like, you know, the people who tell me that want to do that again. Something little, something helpful, something supportive. I mean, have you noticed what happens when people don't keep their relationships on the front burner? We lose them. We lose touch, like with who we were and who and what we did back then and who we were back then, or even, you know, in the short term. Life is busy. It's busier now than it's ever been. And the truth, and you know, we'll say this over and over again on this show, because Sarah and I, we deal with relationships and we deal with personal development. But in the relationship department, we hear lots of stories from lots of people. People find ways to get what they need. You think so, Sarah? Think people find ways to get their desires and fantasies met? What do you think?
A lot of people will find ways to get their needs and desires met, or sometimes they will just crawl inside their iPhone get into the fetal position, get into bed, and just like cry themselves to sleep.
Yeah, or get on their iPhone and, dig up the biggest porno site that there is, and maybe get off that way. Affairs, all this stuff. This is what happens, relationships need maintenance. 10%, 20%. You can't imagine if you put 20% of effort into your relationship, the kind of rewards you can get. We're not talking about all of a sudden, all clingy and whoopee and lovey-dovey. We're talking about 10%, 20% of giving the relationship what the person really needs. I mean,
And
how
find
much.
out what they need. That's the key, is find out what they actually want versus what you think they want.
Right. I mean, Bob brings flowers home and, he knows she likes flowers, but she doesn't, she wants something else. I don't know what it is. I'm sure, you read the love languages. For some people, that's helpful.
It is
It is
sometimes.
helpful because it helps you establish what kind of desires your relationship. So, I mean, I urge everyone to read that book. It's a primer, and it's important to look at that. But again, Sarah said we want our listeners to weigh in. So, what does fulfilling togetherness look like for you? What have you and your partner done that brings you closer instead of pulling you apart? Please send us your thoughts. We'll feature some, no names, on any episode, because the truth is that your strategy and relationship gains might be a real help to someone else. They just really, I mean, you might not think that. And it's not like we know everything. You know everything. You're in a relationship. If you tried something that worked, uh, help, you know, help a relationship out. Share your information. There's no secret. People aren't going to copy you. Um, you're
Right.
going to help somebody's relationship.
And we also tend to be in the business of wanting to talk about how to make your relationship better, because that's a lot less depressing than talking about divorce. So we are all about helping you make your relationship thrive.
So let's get into a few strategies that might help you move the needle as we get a little further into that. When we choose a relationship, I think we're choosing to risk being in conflict. People from two different arenas, two different places, two different lives, all of a sudden they come together. Guess what happens? Conflict. We're not taught to deal with conflict. So it's important to have some method of resolving conflict in your relationship. Conflict resolution. It helps in other areas. It certainly helps if a spouse or in a relationship, you found a way, to not let that thing get out of hand. It's not about, it's about choosing reality and maturity. It's not about avoiding the tough stuff. It's about, shooting through the tough stuff and how to handle it. Like one thing, agree to disagree. It's hard for humans to do that. I mean, it's hard for relationships to do that, but it does work. If you can agree to disagree, some people just cannot, because being right is more important to some people than being happy. It's not their fault. They were brought up that way. It doesn't mean you have to carry on that way. You can change. You can, meet your relationship where it is, not in some book, or somewhere else. Meet it where it is and address the issues, and have enough something to be able to ask, what do you need? How can I help you make life happier for you, easier, more fulfilling, whatever it be? Look, they might tell you, you know what you can do? You can take a long walk off a short cliff, and you can kiss my behind while you're at it. That does happen. Relationships are low risk. Aren't they? People wouldn't say what they might say in a relationship to strangers outside, because strangers would tell them, take a hike or maybe take a swing. Who knows?
Right. And sometimes our partners deserve a little bit better than that. Right? Sometimes
Yeah.
they do.
But if you fall into it, you're only human, and we recognize that here. So if we're only human, and if something's broken, we can fix it, or we can try. Again, I say it all the time. Not everything's fixable, and not everything is forgivable. So nobody here will ever say that somebody who does the most horrible thing can be forgiven. We're not talking about that.
No.
We're talking about asking for what you need, finding out what might be available by the other person, and enjoying it, and letting it happen. Stop assuming that you know what your partner needs. Ask. Ask them. Don't give them what you think they need. Give them a chance to tell you what's actually important to them. I mean, aren't some things important to you, Sarah? There are some things that are important.
Of course. And sometimes, once again, we need to make sure that our partner or spouse knows what is actually important to us. So I think I'm going to quote Zev here. Sometimes a spouse might want presents, as in gifts, or they just might want your presence in their lives. There's a huge difference. It's very easy to give a gift, but the gift of time, giving somebody your time, really shows them that you care.
And listening, I mean, listen to 10%. Show them that you heard 10% of what they heard. You won't believe the kind of benefits that you'll get, or in terms of treatment and niceness, and couthness, and the yelling might stop. It can happen. One of you might be suffering from monotony, because that's what your life, that's kind of what your relationship manufactures. And in relationships, they do manufacture things, and they do it according a lot to do with where we came from and where we learned and who our role models were. And so we need to learn to manufacture other things, harmonious types of ingredients, like we're talking about here. Put something on the calendar. It's monotonous. Go to that calendar, put one thing on the calendar. One thing, you did 12 things during that year. Two things, do the math. It makes a big difference as the month goes by when you look back and say, we went to a show together, we went to a game together, we did something together. We did something more than a dinner, and look at each other, even though that's a good start. And if you're not doing that, then please do that, because getting out is the start. Just start, get out. If it's to eat, then great.
If it's a walk in nature, that's great too. Take a walk at sunset. Just hold your partner's hand at sunset and take a short walk. It is quite magical.
Or, even more on the other side of the coin, do something sexy. Be sexy. You were once, weren't you? You thought you were. Maybe you didn't. Maybe you didn't. But you can. I mean, we're all capable of doing sexy things and being a little sexier than we are. And I know monotony gets to be monotony, but all of a sudden, somebody throws some sexy thing into the mix. It can make a real big difference. So next up is soothing, self-soothing, and soothing in your relationships. Anybody ever heard about, Sarah, you ever heard anybody use the word soothing and all of a sudden everybody gets all angry and mad and terrible? I don't think it happens. People love soothing. When you have a sunburn, put that cold product on your back, and there's a soothing quality to it. It's the same thing with partners, couples who individually, manage their stress, even though it's not always easy, because and they show up for each other in a healthy way. It's not like your partner has to rescue you, but supportive empathy can go a long way. You might not have the answers, but you have the capability to provide the support that they might need. They might just need to be heard. And guess what? You're elected. You're there, and if you don't expect your relationship to grow so much, because it grows when people know that you're invested in your relationship. Which ties into another thing. Sarah, what about collaborative relationships? What does a collaborative relationship look like?
So, to me, a collaborative relationship looks like one where there's give and take, where there's a lot of open and fair communication, people who use fair fighting techniques so that they're not yelling at each other, and people have this common vision of where they would like to go in life, and they're both willing to do the give and take.
And they have shared goals, they have shared wins, and they have mutual respect. And like you said, Sarah, they have a mutual vision. If you don't know where you're going, you're not going to end up somewhere where you want to be. It's okay to kind of look ahead and say, we'd like to get to here. And that helps you get there. In real time, in real time. It's not about crowding. It's not about crowding. Again, it's about working through life challenges together, 20 to 30% of your time together. If you did that, you'll have a way more harmonious and healthy relationship. There'll be a lot more satisfaction, and even more so, there'll be appreciation and gratitude, which are amazing ingredients. I can't even tell you the value of appreciation and gratitude. A lot of people talk about it, but it's hard. It's not something everybody does.
And so here's a question for you, Zev.
Uh-oh. Oh, no.
Uh-oh. And you can ask me the same question. So you're a man and you speak to lots of men.
I'm a man?
Yeah. Oh, my God. You're a man.
Thank you so much.
Zev, you are the man. Okay? Now that we have it out of the way that you are the man, how do men usually feel appreciated? Because sometimes women can have a different idea of that.
They feel appreciated when they're recognized for the things that they do. Men love recognition. They just do.
So how would that look?
It's in our DNA. We want.
Give me an example of how that
would look. I am so appreciative, that you went ahead and did those things to make the house, look so much better. You spent the time on the roof. You didn't fall off. You
didn't fall off.
You put yourself out and you did something that we're all enjoying, and we appreciate it and we value your effort. Your effort is everything to us. Boy, you say that to somebody, that's like a home run, and that's a 3-point shot. That's a slam dunk. So,
and does a man also usually crave respect from his partner?
I think so. They certainly react to disrespect.
They do.
Disrespect is a huge turn off. But look, not everybody does things that that bring respect to them. But if we look at that, just the whole issue of being respectful, on a reasonable level, and letting the person know that if they did something, that makes you disrespect them, tell them what it is, so they can correct or try to, or at least know what the hell they're doing. Because we do go through this life sometimes like bats out of hell. We don't know what we're doing. We don't know the damage we're causing. We don't know we don't value the contributions we make. Sometimes we don't know how our behavior touches other people. This is about emotional touching. It's not about touching. It's about emotional intimacy is a big deal. It's when two people are in this together zone, not crowding each other, not any of that, clingy, lovey-dovey, if you're not into that kind of thing. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about emotional intimacy when you know that the two of you are one in this world and that you understand each other, you hear each other, you feel each other. Like when someone says, I feel you, I feel you. Well, that's emotional intimacy.
That
And,
is.
and a moment of emotional intimacy is so powerful. Um, it's not something that you can just snap your fingers and have. You have to manufacture a bit of emotional intimacy. It's not an issue you're making it up or you're faking it.
Right. And relationships are sometimes a lot like gardens. Both Zev and I love to garden. And a relationship is very much like tending to all those different plants in your garden, and each plant has different needs too.
Yeah, and they need special care. There are directions, and relationships unfortunately don't come with directions. You know, the family doesn't send you directions and says when you open the box, make sure that you do this, this, and this, and this, and make sure you turn this one and put this one in there. It just doesn't do that. We have to find out, you know, what that is, and a lot of times the truth is that it's like the directions are written in another language. The only way to understand it is through mutual understanding, mutual respect, listening, doing those kinds of things. Oh, Zev, you know, enough with your listening and all that. Well, listening has huge benefits. It just does. And when people know they've been heard, there is something magic that happens. And the reason why it's not so is because a lot of people just don't do it. And they might think they do it. I heard you, honey. I heard what you said. Well, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about hear me, feel me, touch me. You
See
know?
me.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's a song like that, right? See me,
There you go.
feel me. Exactly.
Or we
So,
need
well,
it.
what?
Or we need to write it if there isn't a
Oh,
song.
there is a song by The Who. Oh, there's definitely a
Oh,
song.
there is. Okay.
Absolutely. From Tommy, a famous song from Tommy. See me, feel me, touch me. Yes. Well, that applies to
Those
relationships in
ingredients.
a kind of way.
There you
So
go.
finally here, I'm sorry.
Music sometimes gives us the ingredients for good relationships. You just gave an example.
And then some people come home, and I'm guilty too. You turn on the TV on, and you're zoned. You're tired. You've had enough. You don't need any more bullshit from anybody or anything. But the truth is, you come home, you put some music on in the house, talk to your, invest in your relationship a little bit, listen a bit. You know, how was your day? Da 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 da. And there's music playing in the background. Well, then there might be music playing in your relationship. If you do that, it's just doing something different. Monotony is doing the same thing over and over again. Some people just can't stand it. I don't like monotonous kinds of things. It's boring, it's horrible, and who wants to be there? You want to be somewhere else. And so your mind takes you somewhere else, but television takes us where other places, and we don't need to do too much. And there's a place for it, for sure. But in a relationship that's not doing too well, it might be a good idea to invest some things in it. So finally, we'll get to the last thing on the ingredient list. And yes, we are going there, and that's sex. That
Woo!
doesn't mean you gotta, it doesn't have to be the big event, the big bed rocking event, whether you do it in the bed, in the kitchen, I don't know what you do, but everybody's got their thing that they do, up against the wall. Who knows what you do? What you do is your business behind closed doors, but it's important to get there playing and exploring, and create and manufacturing anticipation. And if a relationship does that, finds a way to manufacture, and explore and play and discover each other, that and intentionally build excitement that keeps the spark alive, because routine is a relationship killer. It's a life killer. We all have our routines, and you run in the morning. We got this. We got this. Well, we have to lend a little to our relationships as well, if we can. If we're ready. to do it. I mean, it's never good to do any of this if you're not in the right frame of mind. It's better to not do anything at all if you're in the wrong frame of mind, because nothing good's going to happen, and you're just going to get back into that, the routine of, you start to say something that's on your mind, and either you feel that the other person's being indifferent, and indifference is a real killer. They don't hear you, and it's the same thing. And maybe you start yelling. You never listen to me. You don't care about me. Same old, same old, same old is not good. So it's a simple
No,
formula. Same old, same old. Change it. Just vary it, but don't do it by 100%. You don't have to take your whole life. Play golf. Play this. Do whatever. Invest 10, 20, 30% of your time into doing the kinds of things that grow your relationship, not what you think necessarily, but the kinds of things that grow your particular kind of plant. In other words, your spouse is a plant, or your partner is, and what makes them grow? How do you nurture that? Don't go 100%. You don't have to. Nobody's asking you to. But if you want to change in your relationship, then throw something down.
right. And
You want to be needed. Everybody wants to be needed. You want to be needed, Sarah? Feel like you want to be needed?
everybody wants to be needed. Everybody wants to be seen. Everybody wants to be recognized.
Yeah. Everybody wants some. Everybody wants some. Everybody wants.
Everybody wants some. There was this.
I want some too.
Yeah, exactly. There
Thank you.
was.
Thank you, Van Halen.
Yeah.
Thank
Oh, yeah. We love Van Halen. So
Thank
there was a lady I knew, and the way that she would manufacture connection with her husband is they bought a hot tub, and they both had high stress jobs. So their ritual was, as soon as they got home, they spent 20 minutes in that hot tub, and it literally set the bar for the rest of their evening. And she said that that was literally their recipe for success. 20 minutes in the hot tub with a glass of white wine every night. These
Hey,
were Texans, and that was their routine.
and it sounds like a routine that could, it sets things in motion.
It
If
does.
not, at least it soothes two people come out of their day, which, days can be ruthless. They can be wonderful, but they could be ruthless. I know I've had some ruthless days. I'm sure everybody out there has. Um, Hot tub, good idea. There's many good ideas. And, one, um, again, one of our, maybe next week or the week after, we can do the medicine chest of ideas to help grow your relationship a bit more emotional intimacy, or to grow it romantically. And these are little things. Believe me, I got a bunch of things, in a medicine cabinet, that could really spark some things. And I think we'll do a show on that. And I think it'll be well received. But look, play a little, play with each other. You were kids, played in the sandbox, play in the sandbox, get in that sandbox, bring your bucket or whatever prop you might have. Even if that prop, maybe vibrates a little, who knows? I don't know. That could create a lot of things. I just can't. We have a lot of situations in our world. No joke. Erectile dysfunction is a huge deal in relationship. Good
And
or
here,
bad. I mean, it's huge. It's a big deal.
and since you brought that up, there are so many women who take erectile dysfunction personally. Should women take it personally?
I don't think so. I think that if you take it personally, then you might not really understand, what that reality of, a person, for men to have sex, they have to get it up. It's just a fact. They gotta, again, we'll take some time to talk about this on one of these shows, because it deserves huge attention.
Because
And
this is
it doesn't have to be, like I said, you can bring props, you can do all kinds of things. that can you can pleasure your partner in all kinds of ways, and they can pleasure you. And a mature relationship where people understand what's going on here. That Mr. Happy isn't very happy down there, and it's not working. Well, there are ways to still keep a relationship on track while you deal with that issue. And more in our world, there are more ways now to treat and approach erectile dysfunction than there ever has been. Imagine living in the past when there was nothing. And believe me, they tried it. If you ever look in the back, I love archives. You look in the back of old magazines or old kinds of things like that, you see these crazy things that they did in Victorian times and other times, the contraptions and things that they did. But I'm getting off the topic, and we got to call it a day soon. But look, play can turn into bed rocking encounters. So, mind it or don't, but please think about playing, because playing definitely yields some results in relationships. So if you're feeling like your relationship can use a tune-up or a total overhaul, remember, you don't have to do it alone. It's some people just can't get this together. So
No.
you need a strategy, and the things we talked about today, are part of a strategy, and we can help you put a strategy together, basically to nurture your particular unique kind of situation.
Because every situation is different. I mean, we do have some commonalities as humans, but every relationship is different. So there's no one size fits all. And what we do is we approach it and manufacture something that is specifically for you that works.
So we have a lot of things going on, Sarah and I. We're here twice a week. On Tuesday, we do a personal development podcast where we talk about a lot of things that we did in the book that we wrote, which is Discover Your Amazing Edge. Each chapter has a different thing. It applies to different people. So I hope check it out on Amazon, soft cover, hardback, or on Kindle. I think you'll really enjoy it, and it will make a difference in your life. We have webinars. We have master classes, to help you stimulate your relationship and get personal development strategies and challenges that you have, and help you overcome those. Ask us about our concierge intensive program, because that can make a huge difference. And if you're in that kind of situation and I'm able to, I'm sorry?
Hawaii. What part of
yes. able to do that, then that might be the thing for you. An intensive weekend with Sarah and Zeb. It will definitely change your perspective and put your relationship on a different track. But thanks for tuning in today.
Thank you.
We appreciate you taking the time, and we wish you a wonderful holiday weekend, and that enjoy your family time, enjoy your time out here in Washington. It's finally 80 degrees. It's beautiful out. So get out, take a walk, have some fun. And it's been fun, Sarah.
It's been very fun, Zev. Thank you.
And until next time, we'll see you again soon. Spicy Fridays, every Friday. We'll see you Tuesday for the personal development segment. And reach out to us and let us know what you're thinking. So have a good weekend, everybody.
Have a good weekend. Take care.
Bye.